Stay connected to your community and save. Just 99 cents a month gets you 3 months of unlimited access to Inform.com. Visit Inform.com/subscribe and get your first 3 months of news for only 99 cents a month.
During World War II, North Dakota kids traded in their Valentines to help the war effort, while adults sent camels. Hi, this is Tracy Briggs, and welcome to Back Then. As great as history books are, some of the best lessons about a particular period of time in history can be found in the newspaper. Not just from the headlines of the day, but from what movies were playing, what styles people were wearing, and even how advertisers were shaming women into believing their husbands wouldn't stray if they just bought the right deodorant. This rings true for newspapers I recently discovered from the first Valentine's Day of World War II. The Hope Pioneer was a weekly paper published from 1883 to 1964, serving residents of Griggs and Steele County, North Dakota. Now, the two issues I found surrounding Valentine's Day 1942 showed something kind of interesting. It was evident from the words and photos on these newspaper pages that despite the war having begun, for the most part, life was carrying on much like it always had. But there were hints that that was starting to change. Now keep in mind, the United States was only 69 days into World War II, with the attack on Pearl Harbor happening a little more than 2 months earlier. It's pretty clear rationing was not yet in effect when you look at the recipes in the Valentine Day Supper Party by columnist Lynn Chamber. The dishes, including St. Valentine's Day cake with 7-minute frosting and meringues with strawberry ice cream, included both butter and sugar, which would be rationed by the U.S. government just 3 months later in May of 1942. Now, while the war might not quite have been reaching our kitchens in February of 42, it had hit the classroom. Elementary school students in Hope chose not to spend money on Valentines that year. Instead, they took up a collection to purchase defense stamps. This is what the paper said. Friday afternoon, under the guidance of Miss A. Sandness, they, the 5th and 6th graders, went to the post office to buy the stamps. At the time, the U.S. Treasury Department was encouraging teachers like Miss Sandness to use defense stamps as a way to teach math skills and aid in the war effort. All of the stamps collected would then be put into collection booklets. The filled collection booklets could later be used to purchase Series E war bonds. Despite the war being just weeks old, the students were on board, even if it meant no Valentines for them. The paper wrote, "Without Valentines, but with the happy feeling of owning defense stamps, thus far totaling $87.75, these children are proving their American spirit." Some of the most enlightening content found in old newspapers are advertisements. The ads can be disgustingly sexist, laugh-out-loud funny, and wildly outlandish, sometimes all at the same time. Now, don't take my word for it. Just try Googling vintage ads, and you will be in for a big laugh. In fact, it's kind of a rabbit hole. I do it once in a while, and it's really unbelievable what some of these ads were like. Now, I'm talking about way back in the 40s, but ads even in the 70s and 80s are also pretty funny. So these Valentine's issues of the Hope Pioneer from 1942 did not disappoint. While the school children were buying defense stamps, adults were being encouraged by Wall Street to send cigarettes to their soldiers. There's an ad for Camel cigarettes here that declares that sales records prove that military men prefer Camels over other cigarettes. The company even gave customers already wrapped cigarettes with instructions for mailing during the war. And finally, a story in the February 19th edition summarizes Valentine's Day in that first full year of World War II, a time when Valentine's greetings served to, quote, boost people's courage and help them keep going, end quote. But the story also noted showing love on red paper cupids or in heart-shaped cakes isn't the only way to do it. Here's what the paper said. This year, people think it best not to give so many Valentines and Valentine gifts as in years before. However, there is plenty of room in the world today for the gift of love and kindness. And maybe Camel cigarettes. And that is Back Then for this week. I hope you'll join us again next time.
Get reliable and accurate local news with Inform.com. Inform.com is your trusted local news source with journalists dedicated to keeping you informed about what's happening in your community. Visit Inform.com now.